All right, I want you to picture the new world. Think of the raw, untamed power of a Yonko. Think of the monstrous strength of Kaido, the sheer presence of Shanks, the terrifying ambition of Marshall D. Teach. These are the titans of the pirate world, the kings of the sea. They seem like pure fantasy, right? Creations from Eiichiro Oda's legendary imagination. That's where you're wrong. So wrong. What if I told you that the real history of our world, the real Golden Age of Piracy, was populated by men so savage, so cunning, and so legendary that they make the Grand Line look like a trip to the local swimming pool? Oda didn't just invent these characters, he looked back in time at real-life pirates and said, I can work with that.
Okay, for real. We are about to dive into the forgotten facts and bloody histories of the real pirates who walked the plank so that the characters of One Piece could run. We're talking about the men whose real-life deeds were so insane they had to be toned down for the manga. Get ready to have your mind blown.
First, let's get one thing straight. The real Golden Age of Piracy was a short, brutal, and explosive period, roughly from the 1650s to the 1730s. This wasn't a fun adventure. It was a desperate, violent, and often short-lived profession. But in that chaos, legends were forged. Men who became living nightmares for the empires of Spain, England, and France. And Eiichiro Oda, being the master of historian and storyteller he is, studied these legends. He didn't just borrow a name here and there, he captured their spirit, their methods, their philosophies, and their terrifying reputations. Let's start with the big one, the man whose ambition and ruthlessness perfectly mirror the series' most despicable villain. Let's talk about Marshall D. Teach, Blackbeard. In One Piece, he's the ultimate opportunist. He's cunning, patient, and willing to do anything for power, from killing a crewmate for a devil fruit to orchestrating a massive war just to steal another. Now, meet the real Edward Teach, the historical Blackbeard. This man was a master of psychological warfare. His reputation alone was his greatest weapon. Before a battle, he would weave hemp fuses, soaked in salt water and lime peter, into his massive black beard and hair. He would then light them. Imagine being a sailor on a merchant ship, and out of the sea mist comes this 6.5-tall demon, wreathed in smoke and fire, with multiple pistols strapped to his chest, looking like a literal devil emerging from hell. 9 times out of 10, you wouldn't even fight. You'd just surrender. This is the exact same energy as Marshall D. Teach in One Piece. His power isn't just his devil fruits, it's his terrifying reputation that precedes him. He lets chaos and fear do half the work for him. The historical Blackbeard rarely had to actually kill anyone during his captures, because his image did the killing for him. But make no mistake, when the time came, he was absolutely brutal. His end came in a bloody, legendary battle. He was shot 5 times, cut more than 20, and continued to fight until he was finally decapitated. His headless body was thrown overboard, and legend says it swam around his ship 3 times before sinking. You can't write fiction crazier than that! That's the kind of monstrous legend that Oda channeled directly into his Blackbeard, a man who seems almost supernaturally hard to kill, fueled by pure ambition. But not all pirates were terrifying demons. Some were just chaotic agents of fortune. This brings us to a fan favorite from the worst generation, Eustace Captain Kidd. In One Piece, Kidd is arrogant, violent, and has a flair for the dramatic, with a reputation that often seems to precede his actual long-term success. His story is one of ambition, capture, and a relentless pursuit of a legendary treasure. Now, let me introduce you to William Kidd, the real Captain Kidd. And his story is one of the most debated and fascinating in all of pirate history. Because here's the thing, Captain Kidd started as a privateer, a legal pirate hunter hired by the British government to attack French ships and other pirates. He was a respected sea captain, given a mission, but somewhere along the line got blurry. He was accused of turning pirate himself, of attacking friendly ships, and of hoarding immense treasure. He was eventually arrested in Boston, shipped back to England, and put on a sensationalized show trial, where he was found guilty and hanged. But his legend didn't end there. Kidd maintained his innocence, and he fueled a worldwide treasure hunt by claiming he had buried a massive treasure, supposedly worth millions. For centuries, people have been searching for Captain Kidd's lost treasure, from the Caribbean to islands off the coast of America. Do you see it now? The inspiration for Eustace Kidd isn't just the name, it's the whole narrative. A man walking the line between being a state-sanctioned force, like a warlord, and a full-blown pirate. A reputation that gets twisted and debated, and most importantly, a legend tied directly to the hunt for a massive, world-changing hidden treasure. It's the spirit of the great pirate era, the search for the One Piece, embodied in the story of a real-life captain. Oda's genius isn't just in the big characters, it's in the names and the subtle details. Let's talk about our favorite swordsman, Roronoa Zoro. The name Roronoa sounds unique, a pure fantasy creation. It's not. It's the Japanese pronunciation of a real-life French buccaneer named Francois Lolané. And if you think Zoro is ruthless, you need to hear about this guy. Lolané was arguably one of the cruelest, most sadistic pirates to ever sail the seas. He held a deep-seated hatred for the Spanish and was infamous for his methods of torture and his no-quarter policy. There are accounts of him slicing off portions of a man's flesh, cutting out a man's heart, and taking a bite out of it. He was a monster, a true demon of the Caribbean. Now, obviously, Zoro is our hero. He's not a sadistic torturer, but Oda borrowing this name is a deliberate choice. It imbues Zoro with the spirit of a true, hardened killer. When Zoro gets serious, when he puts on his bandana and taps into his Asura demonic aura, that's the spirit of Lolané. It's a nod to the fact that to be the world's greatest swordsman in a world of pirates, you need to have a sliver of that demonic, real-world brutality within you. It's a dark, hidden layer to a beloved hero.
The list goes on and on. The Calico in Calico Yorkie of the Rumbar Pirates is a nod to Calico Jack Rackham. Jewelry Bonnie is likely named after the legendary female pirate Anne Bonny. Silver's Rayleigh's first name could be a reference to Sir Walter Raleigh. Oda built his entire world on a foundation of real history. He looked at these unbelievable stories of rebellion, freedom, brutality, and legend, and he saw the beating heart of what would become One Piece. He understood that the real world is often more fantastic and more terrifying than any story we could invent. These pirates weren't just characters in a history book. They were men who burned their names into the memory of the world with cannon fire and blood, forever chasing a dream of ultimate freedom, just like the king of the pirates.
The facts are just wilder than fiction, aren't they? It gives this series a whole new layer of respect. So now I have to ask you, who's your favorite real-life pirate? either one we mentioned or one we missed? Sound off in the comments below. And don't forget, if you have an idea for our next deep dive, drop that request down there too. If you learned something new and your mind is officially blown, please give this video a huge thumbs up. It really helps the channel chart its course. And one last time, if you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed and have that bell ringing so you're ready for our next grand adventure. Thanks for sailing with us today. We'll see you on the next tide.